Right, in the next lessons, we're going to be looking at trigonometric equations. We're going to start by revising what we did in grade 11 before we look at trigonometric equations that involve compound angle formulae and double angle formulae. Okay, right, and then now in this lesson, I want us to just quickly look at the concepts that we have to remember. Okay, when solving trigonometric equations, remember the following. Right, you start by finding the reference angle. So we're going to be using this symbol for reference angle, ref angle. That's the symbol we're going to use throughout. For sine and cosine, add k times 360 degrees. That's k times 360 degrees, where k is an integer. And then for tan, add k times 180 degrees, where k is an integer. Remember, this is coming from the period of these trigonometric functions. The period of the sine and cosine graph is 360, remember, and the period for the tan graph is 180 degrees. We'll be using two methods. I would like to call them one, the quadrants method, and then the other one, the formula method. If you're familiar with the quadrants method, you stick to it. If you're familiar with the formula method, you stick to it. Right? When using quadrants method, let's start with that. What should you remember? You have to remember that sine theta is positive in quadrant 1 and quadrant 2. Remember the cast diagram. Okay, sine theta is positive in quadrant 1 and quadrant 2 and negative in quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. Okay, it is very, very crucial that you remember this. And then for cos theta, remember that cos theta is positive in quadrant 1 and quadrant 4 and negative in quadrant 2 and quadrant 3. Remember that tan theta is positive in quadrant 1 and quadrant 3, but negative in quadrant 2 and quadrant 4. We have to remember this because as we select the quadrants, we're going to use the fact that these ratios are negative or positive. Quadrant 1, for sine theta and cos theta, just use this. Your general solution will be your reference angle plus 360 times k. That is for quadrant 1. Okay, remember quadrant 1 is just theta. This theta is your reference angle here. So it's reference angle plus 360 times k, where k is an integer. And then for tan theta, again, is your reference angle plus 180 times k, where k is an integer. Remember for tan theta, we said we're adding 180 degrees times k. Right, quadrant 2, remember quadrant 2 is 180 degrees minus theta. So how is it going to be? For sine theta, is 180 degrees minus reference angle, which is like 180 degrees minus your theta, plus 360 degrees times k, where k is an integer. And then for tan theta, it will be still 180 degrees minus your reference angle, plus 180 degrees times k, where k is an integer. Then quadrant 3, remember quadrant 3 is 180 degrees plus theta. So how is it going to be? For sine theta and cos theta, it will be 180 degrees plus reference angle, then plus 360 times k, where k is an integer. And then for tan theta, it will be 180 degrees plus reference angle, then plus 180 degrees times k, where k is an integer. And then the last one, the last quadrant, quadrant 4, remember quadrant 4 is 360 degrees minus theta. Right, so it means quadrant 4 for sine theta and cos theta is going to be 360 minus reference angle plus 360 degrees times k, where k is an integer. And then for tan theta is going to be 360 degrees minus reference angle plus 180 degrees times k, where k is an integer. So this is how you can use the quadrants method to find what? Your general solutions. We're going to look at this in detail when we deal with examples. Right, let's look at the formula method. When using the formula method, just remember this. We did this in grade 11. So for sine theta is equal to n, remember that theta will be equal to your reference angle plus 360 times k, where k is an integer. Okay, or theta is equal to 180 minus reference angle plus 360 times k, where k is an integer. That is for sine theta. Okay, and then for cos theta, remember that it will be plus or minus reference angle plus 360 degrees times k, where k is an integer. Just remember that there are two of them here. Is positive reference angle plus 360 degrees times k, or negative reference angle plus 360 times k. There are two things here. And then for tan theta, it's just 1. It is your reference angle plus 180 degrees times k, where k is an integer. Just remember these before we move on to examples.